All right. So I just wanted to sort of finish up on traveling, your experience traveling. Like every year, you generally take time off and go traveling to a new destination around the world. And you've had a few interesting experiences. I was hoping you could tell us about some of those, especially there was one in China.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've traveled quite a bit. I've done a lot of Asia, obviously Brazil, America, but yeah, the incident in China was that was my first real experience, as like a movie. To me, it was almost like a movie because it happened like a movie, and it was definitely a big wake-up call and to put me to the test mentally, So it was in Shanghai, New Year's Eve. So prior to that, they got a massive, where the shopping center is a mall and stuff like that. So I used to just walk there daily, just walk up and down to get something to eat or whatever, shopping. And obviously there's people there that come talk to you, yeah? Just random people. And they're trying to sell stuff on the street there. So, people come up to you as normal, but I used to just brush them off. But this is one guy who'd every time I saw him, he'd just come up to me, say hello and where you going and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So then I was looking for a laptop cover or Galaxy iPad cover. So, and he goes, yeah, I know a shop. So he took me to the shop, helped me there, and I didn't think nothing of it. He didn't ask for anything. So he just took me to the shop, come out, I bought something. We just started talking. And he seemed pretty genuine. So we started talking about, he goes, what are you doing here? I said, I'm doing a bit of training and stuff like that. And he goes, oh yeah, my son does training. So he showed me photos of his son, him and his son in like karate uniform and that. So that's where he got me because it was legit. So, and then I said, all right, this guy's pretty cool. And just started talking to him, sort of befriended me a little bit. Not that I hung out with him or nothing like that. And just every time I used to see him, I just have a chat with him. And then came New Year's Eve. And they've got a thing there in Shanghai. It's called the Bund, which is like a big concrete. It's along the river. And they've got all the city buildings on the other side. And they have a massive light show for New Year's, the countdown. So I was heading out there, bumped into him, and I told him, is there anywhere I can go to have a drink? Like a bar or something, So they don't have like bars like how we do here. They have karaoke bars, that's it. And all the karaoke bars are all upstairs. They're all up in buildings. That's how it is there. There's no open cafes and stuff like that. So I go, yeah, he goes, I've got a friend. He goes, I know a karaoke bar. I go, all right, I'll go have one drink just to relax, and then I'm going to go head out. So he took me up into this, we went into an elevator, took me to the building, went up there. It was about 4 stories up. We walk in, there's a karaoke bar. I didn't think nothing of it, but it was pretty quiet. So I'm thinking about, because everyone else was out into the streets. So I go into this room, and then he starts bringing out, all these girls started coming out. And I'm like, man, I think he's taking me to the wrong place. And I sort of wasn't interested. I ordered a drink. I had a drink. And he goes, I'll be downstairs. He goes, I'll meet you downstairs. Finish your drink. He goes, and I'll be out like this. I said, all right. So anyway, those girls started to try to chat me up, and I wasn't interested. So they left. And as I was drinking, then some other dude come in. So he was holding a tray with a bottle of Remy Martin. And it was him and 2 other guys. So he come in, man, talking to me friendly. And he sits the tray on the table, and he gives me the bill, the receipt. And he goes, oh, this is for you. He goes, this is what you owe me. And I looked at the price, and I'm like, and I don't know how much a Remy Martin bottle was, but this was expensive. This was a couple of grand. So he goes, this is what you owe me. I said, I never ordered this. He goes, well, the bottle's opened. He goes, it's yours now. And I said, man, I've already paid for my drink. I had one drink. And I said, yeah, I'm not paying for that. And then I realized what was happening. And he goes, And then they put the curtain down. They had a glass door. And there was two of them sitting down, and there was him next to me. And then they put the curtain down on the door. And I'm like, uh-oh. And so there's no way to get out. There's no windows, nothing. So I'm stuck in this little room. And he goes, where you from? I go, Australia. He goes, welcome to China. Like this, you know. He goes, what do you think this is? He goes, it's New Year's. He goes, you got the room here. He goes, the girls that came in. He goes, everything costs. You know? And I'm like, all right. So I knew what was happening now. And this is when, you know, my brain just started going, oh, now what do I do? You know? So, and I had my phone and stuff like that. And he goes, what are you going to do about the bill? I go, I'm not paying for that. I go, I don't have the money to pay for that. You know? And as all this kind of stuff's happening, I could see where that door is a glass door, and I could still see probably, you know, there's a little gap at the bottom. It was clear. And I could see more feet outside. So there's more people outside. And I'm like, oh, crap. What do I do? Then this big dude walks in. Biggest Asian I've ever seen. He was huge, wearing an army jacket, sat down. And I'm like, oh, man. So now they're threatening me to pay. And this guy, if you've seen the movie, what's it called? The Hangover?
Mm.
You know that little Asian dude?
Yeah.
He was exactly like him.
Okay.
He's a little mafia boss. Later on, I found out that were the Triads.
Mm.
Yeah. So, anyway, I was hated, got hated, argument, got calm, got hated, got calm. I ended up giving them money. So I had about $500 worth of Australian dollars, obviously in Chinese money. So I pulled it out, I gave it to him. Okay, this is all I got. That's all I'm giving, you know, because there's 3 people in there. But at the same time, I'm looking at the people in the chair. Are they pulling out weapons? Have someone, you know, I don't know what was happening. I was my antennas were going everywhere. And I had my phone on the bench and I had my credit card in there. And he asked me, he goes, don't you have any more money? He goes, what about a credit card? I go, I don't have any credit card. And he goes, what are you going to do for money? I go, I don't know. I'll have to ring home or something like this, you know. So he gave the money to the big dude and the big dude counted it. And they threatened to kill me. So I'm like, all right. And he's asking me, then they accepted the money and I went to get up. I grabbed my phone. Lucky they didn't take my phone because I had my passport on me too. And I said, if they touch my phone or my passport, well, this is where I have to make a decision now. You know, I'm not letting him take that. That's what I said. I'm not letting him take that. So I was looking at the glass. I'm like, I'm going to glass this guy. I'm going to do this to this. And that's how I started to think. I had to, you know. So I stood up, went to put my jacket on. He goes, what about your jacket? He goes, have you got anything in your jacket? So this is where I sort of put my foot down and I ripped everything out of my jacket and I threw it at him. And I sort of said, man, and I put my hands out like this and I said, that's all I got. That's it. And at this point, this is where I made the decision where I said, if something happens, for me, it was a life and death situation at this point. That's how I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I said, if I'm going out, I'm taking someone with me. That's it. I have to. I had to change my mind. It's either you crumble or you don't. You got to fight. So this is what I say now. It's martial, yeah? But at the same time, I had to keep my cool and know what's going on in my head. But, yeah, after that, no, he was all right. He goes, no worries. All right. So let me go. I grabbed all my stuff. And surely when I opened the door, there was another 4 people out there. So I was surrounded. It was 7 in total. And I would turn left to go where I came in from. And he goes, no. He goes, go this way. So I turned right. So there was another elevator. So they all walked him into this elevator and got in. I know one of them came in. It was one of the smaller guys that was in the room with me. So jump in, he jumps in, and they just stayed behind. And I'm staring at this guy. He's facing one way. He's not looking at me, but I'm facing him. And I'm like, man, I can take this guy out now. That's how I was thinking. I can take this guy out. But then I sort of said, but I don't know where I'm going. So I'm in the elevator going somewhere. I don't know. So, yeah, I stopped. The doors opened and I was out into the street. And I'm like, is this like real? So I just stepped out, turned. I just stared at like a movie. You know, when you're staring at someone in the elevator and the doors close? That's exactly how it was. And I was free. And that was it. So, yeah, there was that part, man. And then obviously something else happened during the light show where there was a big stampede, which I got caught in. I just made it out. And I think it was like 43 people died and 30-something people got injured. I just happened to just get out. That was the same night.
Was there a feeling, same night, huh? Wow. Was there because it was New Year's?
Yeah, it was New Year's. So straight from when I got out, I walked straight to the bund there to go finish off the year. You had to go see the light show. So, and I was walked up and then traffic started coming. Like people were just piling and piling. And I was near the front and I just felt getting pressured. People just kept coming. So I was getting a bit claustrophobic, you know? So I turned around and I got to get out of here. I was already in this mind of what just happened. So, and I go, how am I going to get out? There's no way I can move. I can't move. I felt people touching my pockets and I was like, man, I'm starting to freak out a little bit. So I kept my hands in my pockets trying to squeeze through. So then I worked out that because people were trying to go forward so much that they're trying to fill in my gap. So as they sort of moved forward, I slid into their gap. So I had to go one by one like this. It took me a long time to get towards the end of the stairs. So once I started getting towards the end of the stairs, more people there was no control of it. No one was governing how many people are coming up. So, and that's when the pushing started happening, you know, there was surges of just people pushing, massive surge like a crowd. And I could feel like, and I started to get a little bit paranoid because I could feel something was going to happen. And a lot of them were just oblivious to what was happening. They just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Eventually, I made it down. I got down. And in 10 minutes after I made it down, that's when they got crushed. A stampede happened, and they all crushed each other there. So there was a big funeral thing the next day. And I didn't know until the next day it happened. And it happened exactly right at the spot, just near the stairs there where it happened. You know? Yeah. That was a pretty surreal night for me because after that, everything was gridlocked. Once I made it out, you could not move nowhere. So I sort of got stuck in a corner for about 4 hours. I felt hopeless. I sort of just gave up and just sat there and I said, man, how much worse can this night get? You know? So
could you sense any like sort of different energy before the stampede or as the stampede? Like,
yeah, definitely. I felt something when I was at the front. That's why I wanted to get out because I knew that just people were oblivious to it. They weren't concerned about it, but I could feel it because they just kept forcing. They were just going forward, and you couldn't go any more forward. So obviously, the only way is you're going to squash people. You're going to really crush people, and it was just flooding in. I don't know how many people they said that was there, but yeah, I sensed it. That's why I wanted to get out. You know, definitely I sensed it way before that. And that's what made me turn and I had to get out. So luckily I made it. Yeah.
Okay. And in all your other travels, have you ever sensed something like that? Because I was in the UK. I was in Britain in, I think it was 2011. I think there was a riot after there was a police shooting of a teenage boy, and there was a riot.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like they were burning down the whole city, basically, like sort of what's happening now. Like, but I started near White Hart Lane, and I was actually at the soccer watching Tottenham play a soccer match, and I was going to buy some gear from the merch store, but there was too big a line, so I just went to jump on the train. While I was waiting for the train, I could just hear, it was like the air was sucked out of the world. It was just, and it's like, something's happening. And then you just sort of start hearing these noises. Then while I was on the way back home, there was like the whole city was basically gridlocked on fire. Like all the buses and trains were locked down and diverted. And so it was like pretty crazy. But yeah, I was just interested in knowing like that feeling of it, just that energy of the mob.
I've had a lot of those feelings from many countries that I've, like my gut feeling especially. I've been in situations where my gut has said, man, turn around. Like I've put myself in certain in risky areas. I like to adventure. Yeah, I like to sort of go into the unknown. I know I've been in parts where it's dangerous, and I've sort of the biggest lesson I've learned is always listen to your gut, man. Your gut instinct is your guide. That's a big thing I've learned. And sometimes when you think, nah, it's only my gut, you don't listen to it. I listen to it. That's why it feels like that, because it's telling you, it's a warning sign.
It's a universal
it's a
language.
Universal warning sign is saying, man, you know what? It's not a good idea. And I've walked into certain places, man. In Brazil, I walked into a favela. I didn't even know. I just kept being oblivious, taking photos. But then I noticed, I started hearing whistles and people were running down. And I'm like, man, then I started noticing around my surroundings what was happening. And I quickly realized where I was. And I had to quickly turn around, like in the Philippines, it's happened. I've been sort of approached. Another one in China, which is I got stalked in a shopping center. Lucky, but I sort of turned it around at the end on him, started stalking him. So I made it aware to him that I knew what was happening. He was following me he followed me in every direction that I went, all the way up to the top until I planned it to go to a section where he was trapped. There was a corner and he couldn't go anywhere. So, then he got up to that corner where I knew there was a dead end door. He couldn't go nowhere. So I just sort of went to the balcony area and I was leaning over, like this whole time pretending I didn't know that he was following me, but I knew. So when he got up to the top, he turned the corner and I turned around waiting for him to come back out. So as soon as he come back out, he sort of froze and looked at me like face to face. I was staring right at him, and he just kept going. And then I started doing the exact same thing to him. I followed him everywhere. So I sort of did reverse psychology on him, and I started stalking him everywhere until he was going straight out. So until he went out to the one exit at the bottom, and I turned to another one to go get my scooter. But yeah, my antennas go on. I've learned a lot with traveling is to have your antennas up, man. Definitely, 100%. That's what I've learned a lot with traveling is the intelligence, sort of straight smart intelligence. But we can all get caught,
Oh yeah.
And I don't regret. At that point, I was frustrated with myself that I never thought that I could get caught, because I thought, I'm a bit straight smart myself. But you get caught, and I think there's some of the best lessons. I've been lucky, I think, with nothing serious has happened to me, but I've been in serious situations, which definitely massive life lessons. Yeah, there's a lot of other stories. There's a lot, but I could, like I said, keep going forever, man. There's so many.
Maybe we can do another interview and just go into all the stories, because I know you've got a lot of cool stories, but that was pretty that's a pretty full-on story in China. I remember you telling us that the first time. I was like, that's crazy. It's like, what the hell are you doing, Paul?
Yeah. I wanted to go back though. To finish the story is the guys that I met training there, Shanghai Jiu-Jitsu. A guy named Stan, cool guy, very cool guy, top guys there. So I ended up going there and I told him what happened. And I said, I know exactly who this guy is. I know where the place is. I remember everything. I said, I want to go back and get him. And they go, you sure? I'm like, yeah, man. Because I was pretty upset that I got caught. Yeah, they caught me. That it happened to me, So this is now my ego, I think. Telling me now, no, I want to go back. I want to get these guys now. I want to get this one guy. So, and these guys were all out, ready to help me. Man, they said, no problem. All right, we'll get a few people in. We'll get a few people and all this kind of stuff. And they said, do you really think it's worth it? Because they're the ones that told me it was the Triad. You got caught by the Triad, and it happens with obviously with foreigners. This is what they do. And I said, and I really started to think, and I said, is it worth it? Yeah, I lost $500 Australian, but I came out safe. Nothing happened. Then I'm getting these guys in danger too. Well, I can leave if something happens and all this kind of stuff. So I just took it on the chin and I let it go, man, after that. But I was very thankful with the guy, Stan from Shanghai Jiu-Jitsu. He had my back. and he's just met me. So he's a very, very cool guy, man. Very cool guy. So yeah, that was that part.
Oh, amazing. I think it's a pretty cool story.